What's up YouTube? I'm back in the still standing garage and it's time to cut and buff the 78 Monte here. I painted this car about 10 months ago. And it's time to cut and buff it. I did install the bumper here and the header panel, and as you saw in the beginning of the video, I was displaying the orange peel out in the sun. There's some areas that are worse than others, like for example this little area here, it's like a stripe here, that this is the worst that I found throughout the whole car. From far away you look at the car and it looks real shiny, it looks real nice, but it is very orange peely if you get close to it like that right there. I mean, maybe on camera it does look okay, but once you look at it in person, it does look pretty bad. So I do want to cut and buff it. This isn't a show car, but I want it to look clean. I don't want to put it together because I know if I put it together, I won't cut and buff it, so it's time. I did spray 3 coats of that Grit 7 clear, so I have enough material to cut and buff. One area that has me concerned when it comes to body work is the hood here. I had 2 low spots on this side and then 2 low spots on the other side that I reworked like 3 or 4 times. I don't remember. The last thing I want is to paint this hood and then have all those waves in there. I know I'm saying that I'm gonna move on and I'm just gonna keep it like that and I'm not gonna rework it, but if it bugs me enough, if I see these little spots when I'm driving the car and it's all nice and shiny and I see these waves in it, I am going to take off the hood and I'm going to redo it again. But it is what it is. I'm trying to take care of it right now. So like I said in that video, if it bugs me enough, I'll redo it. The rest of the car, when it comes to body work, it was good. I didn't have any issues. I did walk around the whole car when it was out in the sun to see if I could find any runs on the clear, but I didn't find any, and I didn't find any issues with body work. The only one, like I said, was the hood, so we'll see how that goes. One thing I want to do before cutting and buffing the top here is I want to get the windshield and the back window resealed. There's nothing wrong with the windshield or the back window, just the seal is bad. Let me show you. See how that moves? The whole top over here. The back window does exactly the same thing. I realized I was doing that when I started taking off the masking tape, and the masking tape was so good that when I was taking it off, it started moving. And it does this on both sides, and then the back window does the same thing. So I do want to get them to remove it. I was going to do it myself, but I'd rather have somebody do it. I don't have enough time. I barely have time to cut and buff the car now. So I want to get that redone. I did buy the clips here, the ones that hold on the chrome strip here and on the back. I did buy those clips because once they take it off, clean off the windshield, clean off the channels there, I could put those clips on there and then they could seal it up. I want to cut and buff after they do that, just in case they scratch. Hopefully it's not deep scratches. I could sand that out. Hopefully it's just in the clear. I could sand that out and then buff it. So we'll see. Here's the sandpaper I'll be using to cut the car. This is 1000, 1500, 2000, and 3000. I have my flexible block right here as well. Get that ready to go. All right, YouTube, so I have fresh water in the bucket here. I also threw in 1000 grit sandpaper. That's what I'm gonna start off with. And then I have my flexible block there, fresh water in the spray bottle. I did have to clean up this bucket with some soap and water because it was pretty dirty. I didn't want to start sanding with contaminated water and possibly scratch the clear coat more than what I want. So one thing I want to concentrate on is not getting too close to these edges all the way around. I want to be about 3/8 to a ½ inch away from each edge, especially in these areas that another panel starts. I don't want to roll it by accident and possibly even burn off clear or paint, even worse. You can see the orange peel a lot better right there. See how bad that looks? It's not the resolution on the camera here, it's the actual orange peel. So that's what we're trying to get rid of. Doesn't look bad at all from far away, but it does have orange peel. I ended up adding a hard block to the water here because I am going to start off with this hard block, not the soft block. I did create a post on Instagram that I was going to use the soft block first, and then Adrian from Turtles Cut and Buff hit me up on the DM there. He's a professional and he gets a lot of cars looking wet, and that's what I'm trying to do over here. He gave me a lot of tips and that was one of them. Another tip that he gave me was do the edges first, pretty much how I mentioned, 3/8 to a ½ inch away from the edges, but do the edges first, go all the way around, do the border, and then do the inside. And that's how I'm gonna get this going. So let's get the sanding. Still sanding in the still standing garage. Let's go. out that area right there. You see that? See the orange peel right there. See the orange peel right there. And then it's starting to look real nice and dull there. That's exactly what I want. Then you can see little trash nip there, trash nip there. So seems like in this area here I got a little too close, so I gotta be careful with that. Gotta be more patient. Don't get too confident here and start rolling it. So let's get the sanding, or continue the sanding. Let's go. Alright, all the borders are done, ready to go, or the edges I should say. I got a little too close in some areas, but I'm good with it. I didn't burn through anything, so I'm happy with that. I did get really close down here. There's a piece of trim that goes here around the whole wheel well here, and then it goes all the way back. So I'm not going to cut and buff the bottom part of the car there where those pins are, so I'm okay with that. All I got to do now on this fender is finish the middle here, and then the radius there. On that radius there, I'm not going to use a block. I'm going to use my fingers to sand that little area there, but it's ready to go. As you can see here, this is pretty much what I'm looking for here. See this area here? That's what we need to get rid of. So this is what I want around the whole thing. Now this area here, how it is like that, I'm okay with that because like I said, I don't want to get too close to that edge there where I'm burning things off. I'm huffing and puffing. It's a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience, but I'm good with it. I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's keep sanding. And there it is, YouTube. The fender's completely done with that 1000 grit. It's looking really good. There's a couple areas that you can kind of see, a couple of dots, like there's one right there. You can see that right there. But I think with the next grit, I should be able to knock that down. I did do this by hand like you saw, no block. Turned out really good. I was going on there pretty light. I wasn't trying to be too rough. I was double checking it, or I should say checking it over and over to make sure I was getting the results that I wanted. I didn't want to go too far and take off too much of that clear. So that's one thing I do want to mention. I was using two different microfiber towels. So this is a dry one, then I have a wet one right there. So what I was doing is, as I was sanding, I was doing a section at a time. As I was sanding, I was cleaning it off with the wet towel that I have in there, and then drying it off with that dry one. And then if there was still some orange peel there, then keep going until I got the results that I wanted. So I rather check it over and over. I know it's time consuming, but I rather check it over and over than to later find out that I took too much clear off. So it is what it is. So we got to keep it moving. I'm going to start with the door now with that 1000 grit, and then come back and hit it with the next step. Let's go. All right, YouTube, I just finished the whole door with that 1K grit. Got as close as I could with the sandpaper on the handle here and the lock, where the lock goes. You can see the orange peel there. So I'm good with that. I think it'll turn out really nice once I buff it. And then up here, this whole area up here, I left that much of a gap without sanding because there's a piece of chrome that goes here. I actually have it right here. The width of this chrome piece, which needs to be polished, is what's going to cover here. So I'm okay with the way that turned out. So pretty much that's how much it's going to cover the door. It's right here. So it's going to be like about an inch, inch and a half, something like that. So I'm good with that. Everything else turned out good. Same thing with this edge here. I didn't want to, or the body line, I didn't want to get too close to that, so I'm good with that. Did this little radius here by hand, just how I did the fender. So I was going to keep going on the rest of the car, hit the quarter panel and other areas, But after talking with Adrian, he suggested that I should go back to this fender and pretty much finish it off, finish all the sanding steps, and then go ahead and cut and buff it. So that way I get an idea of what to do with the rest of the car, or what to look for when I'm doing the rest of the car. So I originally was going to hit the whole car with 1000, 1500, 2000, and 3000 grit. But he said to go ahead and don't use the 1500. Already did 1000. He said to go ahead and jump to 2000, 2500, and then 3000. Obviously I need to order that 2500. So right now I'm going to hit it with 2000 on a hard block. As I go from one step to the other, I'll let you guys know what grits I'm using, so that way it's easy to follow, or it's a little easier to follow. The goal with the 2000 grit right now is going to be to remove the scratches of the 1000 grit. That's the main goal right now. You can see a little bit of that orange peel there. You see those little dots there. That's eventually going to come off with the 2000 grit as I keep going 2000 and then the 2500. But like I said, the goal right now is to remove the scratches of the 1000 grit. That's the goal. The goal with the 1000 grit was to remove the actual orange peel, the majority of it. So we're good to go. So let's go ahead and hit it with that 2000. Let's go. There it is, 2000 grit all done, ready to go. Hit everything on this fender. Let me see if I can get a close-up here of the scratches, see if they come up on the camera here. I doubt it. So I'm already done. Look at my hands getting all wrinkly, like if I've been in a pool for a very long time. I wish I was in a pool. It's about 100 degrees in here. So now it's time to hit it with 2500 wet. I got these sheets right here from Amazon. These are 2500 grit here. We're gonna hit it wet with the soft block here, or a flexible block. So that's gonna be next, 2500. So it's already been hit with 1000 grit, 2000 grit with the hard block, and now 2500 with the flexible block. I'll bring you guys back on as soon as that's done, because it's pretty much a repeatable process, just hitting it with a different grit. One thing to note is I am gonna throw out this dirty water. I am gonna clean up the bucket, get some fresh water. I am going to replace the microfiber towels, and the reason for that is I don't want to mix any of the grit. You know how sandpaper falls apart? It might have some on the microfiber towel or the water there, so I don't want to mix that up as I'm going with finer paper. If I'm going to go with 2500, I don't want to have it mixing with that 2000 grit and start scratching, and there's no point. You know, it's just being a little careful with that. Another thing too is that I'm not playing music. Normally when I work on my cars here, I always like playing music in the background. I mean, who doesn't? From what Adrian told me is you want to hear the sandpaper as you're scratching the car, or sanding the car I should say, and you want to make sure that you're not scratching it by accident with something that came in the bucket, the rag, or even on the paper. You want to be able to hear that and make sure you're sanding correctly and you're not digging too far into the fender or whatever panel you're working on. So no music, which sucks. But it is what it is. Let's keep it moving. And just like that, that 2500 all done. Not sure if you could tell the difference on the camera, but I can in person. It looks a lot smoother. You can see the reflection a little bit more. Let me see. Yeah, you see that right there? The reflection is coming back, and that's what you expect when sanding with finer paper as you move up. I'm stopping at 3000, so I'm only going to 3000. Remember those dots that were here? There was still some orange peel there. See how those are gone already? We're ready to go. So now I got to move on to that 3000, and here's the 3000 sandpaper I'll be using. This is from 3M. I will say it's a little bit pricier than the other sandpapers that I'm using, but it's worth it from what Adrian told me, so I should be able to knock it down with this. I will put the link in the description of all the products that I'm using. At least I'll try to put all of them. And I'll be using this block. Put a link in the description of this as well. This block right here is a hard block, so let's get it moving. It's gonna be wet as well. Bring you guys back on as soon as that 3000 is done. We'll look at the reflection. Should be a bigger difference than this here. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. And there it is. The fender's hit with that 3000 grit. Looks real good. Look at the reflection there. Looks nice and shiny. I could actually tell if there's any dents left that I missed, but there isn't. Everything is real nice and clean. It's a big difference between the 2500 grit and the 3000. It's going to make it a lot easier when buffing it out. You could also see some of these lines here, like the smears here from the towel. I just finished cleaning it off. I already went ahead and I put some tape here on the edge, just in case I go on that side with the buffer. I don't want to burn off the edge here or the clear off of the header panel or the bumper. I went ahead and I finished off the door as well. Before I went to the fender over here to finish it off, I had left the door at 1000 grit. So now it's at 1000, 2000, 2500, and 3000 grit. So it's ready to go as well. Look at the reflection there. Look how straight that door is too. All that body work was worth it. All those block parties that I threw on this car by myself. The transition between the door and the fender there, you can see how nice and clean that is. Real happy with this. As for the sandpaper here, I only use one pad to do the fender and the door here, and it still feels like it still has some grit to it, so I could probably still knock out the quarter panel with this one. So I'm gonna save this one. I'm just gonna clean it and wash it real good and then reuse it. And here's the kit I'll be using to buff out the whole car. It's from CSI. They sell this as a kit. It comes with the Ceram-X polish. It also comes with the red polish pad here, and it comes with the pre-washed blue wool pad. That's what this is. It also comes with the attachment right here, not the actual polisher here, but it comes with this piece right here to be able to attach those polishing pads and the wool pad. I did also buy this from Harbor Freight, this polisher. It's a rotary polisher sander. It actually goes all the way up to 4,000. What is it? No, it goes up to 3,500 RPMs. And the lowest it goes down to is 600. So I'll probably start off with 1,000, but we're not there yet. So let's keep it moving. All right, let's open this bad boy up. Let's put it on. Gotta save the bag because I do want to put it back in there when I'm done for the day. Grab this bad boy. Slap it on there. It's Velcro. And to prep the pad, I'm gonna wet it with some regular old water. Well, actually it's not old, it's fresh water. Just spray it on there just to damp up the wool pad here. This is something that Adrian told me to do. This is how he sets it up. Just damp it up. I think that's good enough right there. And then another thing he told me to do is go outside and hit it with the Spur. I did get this Spur from Amazon. Check it out. You can see how it's already falling apart. Look at my finger. So I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm just gonna hit it to where all this loose stuff is out of it, or where I feel satisfied, where there's not gonna be a lot of stuff going in the garage here, and then we can get started. Let's go. All right, here we go. You're supposed to shake this really good. So let's put some of this on there. A little bit on there. Let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna start right here and see how we. Whoa, it's going away from me. That's with a couple of passes. Look at that. You can still see some scratches. Obviously, I do need to hit it a little bit more. You see those scratches right there? Let me see if this thing will focus on them. Damn, it won't focus on them. But there is some scratches there that I can see that I need to keep going on. But man, that looks really nice. So let me keep it moving and then we'll go from there. Let's go. Ooh, check this out, YouTube. I'm pretty sure you caught that. Look at that little piece right there that fell right when I was putting the pad. Right when I was putting the pad onto the panel there, it dripped out. I didn't notice it. Good thing I looked at the video. And good thing I didn't keep going on this. I could have burned right through the paint there. But I think there was enough material there for me to keep going and cutting and buffing here. But these are some things to pay attention to. So it is what it is. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. There it is, YouTube. The first step is complete with the wool pad. Looks real good. I'm really happy with it. Look how straight that fender is too. That body work really paid off. All those hours of going back and forth with those block parties really paid off. Look how clean that looks. That reflection is on point. I'm very excited about it. Still looks a bit hazy, as you can see right there. Camera won't focus, but it's a bit hazy because this is the first step. We still have to do a couple more steps to make it look even more like a mirror. It looks real clean. You can see me right there. Reflections on point. So one thing to note is I was jumping up to 1,400 RPMs, 1,400 RPMs, but I felt like the polisher was jumping all over the place on me. So I decided to bring it down to 1,000 RPMs, and I felt comfortable with that to try to control it, right? I need to get used to it before I start bumping the RPMs a little higher. I don't want it to go all over the place and then start burning off the paint. So once I get used to it, I'll bump it up. But for now, that worked out for me, looked really good. So I did a section at a time. I did a small piece at a time, and I was wiping it off with the microfiber towel after I hit it with the polisher. And then if I saw scratches still in there, and then I went on it again with the polisher to make sure I got those out. And then at the same time, I was touching the panel to make sure that it wasn't getting too hot. That's one thing I needed to avoid, getting the panel too hot. But right now it's really cold in here. Well, yesterday when I polished it was actually yesterday, but it was around the same temperature, around 60 degrees. So the panel wasn't getting too hot, but I was still touching it and making sure that I wasn't getting the panel too hot. So the next step is to hit it with the red pad, this one right here. So let's set that up. Let's keep it moving and keep polishing. Let's go. Let's open this up. Same thing. It's supposed to fit in there real nice. In the center. We're good. And on this one, the same thing we're gonna do is use some water. Just spray a little bit on there just to get it nice and damp. Throw a little bit on there. It's a lot. Check that out. Look how clean that looks. Hey, that is amazing. Let me hit the rest of this fender and keep it moving. This is what it looks like after the red pad right there. Oh, one thing I do recommend is one of these pads right here. Got it from Harbor Freight. It's good for when you're kneeling to hit the panels, or you can get some knee pads, whatever you like. But I like using this. Really good, really comfortable. But look at the difference. There's no more haziness there. Looks real nice and clean, like a mirror. Now it looks even better than what it did before. Not sure if you could tell on camera, but for me, I could tell in person. It looks way better than it did before with the blue wool. So every step we take on this panel or on the whole car, it's gonna get better and better and better. So there's another step that I need to take, but I'm waiting for another pad. So this pad was for the polishing or the second step. So I still need another pad, and I'll show you guys what that will do or what I'm gonna use with it. But since I'm waiting for it, we got to keep it moving. I'll clean up all this area here, and then I'll continue to hit the door here to get it up to this point so we could look down the side of the car and keep it moving. I'm so motivated now to get this done. This video, so you guys know, has been in the works for probably like 3 months now. I've been really busy with work. It is what it is, but I'm trying to get in here every day, at least every day, 1 hour, half an hour. But it is what it is. I'm rambling. Let's go. Alright YouTube, and there it is. The door's completely done. As you saw in those previous clips, looks nice and straight, nice and clean like a mirror. I'm very happy with the results. I'm feeling more comfortable with that polisher. I'm getting the hang of it. So I did bump it up to 1200 RPMs on the wool pad, which is the blue one, and then on the red one I think I bumped it up to 1000 RPMs, and I was doing pretty good with that. I felt comfortable with it. And these areas here, like for example this area here, when I was hitting it, I found that it's easier with the door closed, because I was trying to open the door to see if I could hit it better, but it's actually better with the door closed. I did hit it here with about 600 RPM, so that way I didn't burn through anything. You can still see some orange peel there, like close to the edge, but I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. It's not a big deal, but look how straight everything else is. I'm really happy that I put that short strand fiberglass here and strained it all out. You can see that nice and straight. There's no indentation of the rearview mirror, so I'm happy with that. You can see the difference now, the orange peel and then something that's already been cut and buffed. There's still a few steps left on the door and the fender here, but look at the big difference comparison. Let me go on this side. Look at that. Look how that orange peel looks. I mean, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you look at it from far away, you can still see the reflection. It looks real nice and clean. Look at that. But then when you get up close, you see the orange peel. Then I want to mention again that body work. Look at that. Patience is key. Took me a long ass time to get to this point, but I'm very, very happy with it. Look at the top right here too, by the door handle here, how clean it looked. I remember there was a couple of low spots there, and then all the way throughout this door. This is a donor door for this car, and it was in need of a lot of body work. If you want to check that out in the playlist, the beginning of this build here, or this paint job here, I did a lot of body work on the door throughout the whole car, but the door, especially the door. So I'm gonna keep going on the quarter panel here. Big shout out to Adrian. He came down from Texas to check out the car and also to check out my progress, see how I was doing. Gave me a whole bunch of pointers. Didn't get a chance to record any of our conversation. We got caught up in talking about the cars and stuff. So big shout out to him. Thank you for that. I really appreciate your advice and your tips. Stay tuned for the next video when I complete the cutting and buffing on the Monte here. Thank you for watching. G-Body's still standing. Let's go.